The Indian subcontinent stands on a precipice. Long-standing tensions between nuclear-armed neighbors India and Pakistan have flared once again. A series of events beginning with a horrific terrorist attack in April 2025 and culminating in retaliatory airstrikes and cross-border shelling has brought the region to the brink of a wider conflict. Fear and uncertainty grip both nations as the specter of war looms large. The international community watches with bated breath, urging restraint and dialogue to prevent a catastrophic escalation. This latest chapter in the troubled history of India-Pakistan relations is a stark reminder of the deep-seated mistrust and animosity that define their volatile relationship. The unresolved issue of Kashmir, a disputed territory claimed by both countries, lies at the heart of this conflict. With each passing day, the situation grows more precarious, threatening to unravel decades of fragile peace. The world holds its breath, hoping for a diplomatic solution to avert a devastating war. On April 22, 2025, the serene beauty of Pahalgam, a popular tourist destination in Indian-administered Kashmir, was shattered by a horrific act of terrorism. Terrorists massacred 26 Hindu tourists in Pahalgam, Kashmir, in a brutal, religiously targeted attack blamed on Pakistan-based militants. The attack sent shockwaves throughout India, sparking outrage and grief. The Indian government was quick to blame Pakistan-based terrorist groups for the massacre, accusing Islamabad of harboring and supporting these elements. Pakistan denied any involvement in the attack, condemning the violence and calling for a joint investigation. However, India's accusations found resonance in the international community, with many countries expressing concern over Pakistan's alleged links to terrorist organizations operating within its borders. The Pahalgam attack marked a dangerous turning point in India-Pakistan relations, pushing the two countries towards a dangerous confrontation. In the aftermath of the Pahalgam attack, India vowed a strong response, promising to avenge the deaths of its citizens. On May 7, 2025, India launched Operation Sindoor, a series of precision airstrikes targeting what it claimed were terrorist training camps and launch pads in Pakistan-administered Kashmir. The operation, lasting approximately 23 minutes, involved multiple fighter jets and targeted 9 locations. India claimed that the strikes resulted in the deaths of over 100 militants, including several high-ranking commanders of the Jaish Mohammed terrorist group. The airstrikes were met with a mix of condemnation and cautious support from the international community. While many countries acknowledged India's right to self-defense, they also expressed concern over the potential for further escalation. The United States, a key ally of both India and Pakistan, urged restraint and called for dialogue to de-escalate the situation. However, the airstrikes had already set in motion a dangerous chain of events, pushing the two nuclear-armed neighbors closer to the brink. Pakistan vehemently denied the presence of any terrorist camps within its territory, condemning the Indian airstrikes as an act of aggression. In retaliation, Pakistani forces launched a barrage of mortar shells across the line of control, the de facto border dividing Kashmir between the two countries. The shelling targeted Indian military positions as well as civilian areas, resulting in the deaths of at least 15 civilians and injuring dozens more. Pakistan also claimed to have shot down several Indian fighter jets and drones that allegedly violated its airspace. India denied Pakistan's claims of downing its aircraft, asserting that it had successfully intercepted and destroyed Pakistani drones and missiles targeting its military bases and cities. The exchange of fire across the line of control marked a significant escalation in the conflict, raising fears of a full-blown war. The situation remained extremely volatile, with both sides accusing the other of violating the ceasefire agreement and threatening further retaliation. The latest round of hostilities between India and Pakistan has witnessed the increasing use of sophisticated military technology, particularly drones, in their conflict. Both countries have deployed armed drones to conduct surveillance and targeted strikes against each other's military assets. Pakistan claimed to have shot down several Indian drones over its territory, while India asserted that it had successfully intercepted and neutralized Pakistani drones targeting its key installations. The use of drones has added a new dimension to the India-Pakistan conflict, raising concerns about the potential for miscalculation and unintended escalation. Both countries have also deployed advanced air defense systems to counter the threat of drone attacks. India, in particular, has deployed its Russian-made S-400 air defense system to protect its strategic assets from Pakistani missiles and aircraft. The increasing reliance on technology in their conflict underscores the volatile nature of the situation and the ever-present risk of a larger confrontation. Section 6. The Nuclear Shadow, a dangerous game of brinkmanship. The escalating tensions between India and Pakistan have once again raised the spectre of nuclear war. Pakistan, in a thinly veiled threat, reminded the world of its nuclear capabilities, warning that any further aggression from India would be met with a befitting response. India, while reiterating its commitment to no first-use policy, asserted that it would not hesitate to defend its territory and interests. The exchange of nuclear rhetoric between the two countries has sent shockwaves through the international community, raising fears of a catastrophic conflict. The possibility of a nuclear exchange, however remote, remains a terrifying reality in the context of the India-Pakistan rivalry. The world watches with bated breath, hoping that both countries will exercise restraint and engage in dialogue to avert a disaster of unimaginable proportions. Section 7. A world watching international calls for restraint. The international community has reacted with alarm to the escalating tensions between India and Pakistan. The United States, along with other major powers, has called for both countries to exercise restraint and engage in dialogue to de-escalate the situation. The United Nations Secretary-General has urged both sides to respect the ceasefire agreement and resolve their differences through peaceful means. Several countries have offered to mediate between India and Pakistan to help find a peaceful solution to the crisis. However, given the deep-seated mistrust and historical baggage between the two countries, finding common ground remains a formidable challenge. The international community's efforts underscore the global concern over the India-Pakistan conflict and the urgent need to prevent a disastrous escalation. Section 8. Banga's diplomatic tightrope navigating tensions. Amidst the heightened tensions, World Bank President Ajay Banga arrived in India for a pre-scheduled visit. The timing of his visit coinciding with the worst crisis between India and Pakistan in decades threw a spotlight on the delicate balancing act international organizations face in such situations. While Banga's itinerary focused on development projects, the escalating conflict overshadowed his trip. Banga met with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and other top officials, where discussions inevitably touched upon the current crisis. India sought to reassure the World Bank that its actions were a necessary response to terrorism and emphasized its commitment to regional stability. However, the crisis undoubtedly cast a shadow on Banga's visit, highlighting the far-reaching consequences of the India-Pakistan conflict and the delicate diplomatic dance required to navigate such a volatile situation.
Check one, check two, check.
Section 9. An uncertain future, the long road to peace. As the dust settles on the latest round of hostilities, the future of India-Pakistan relations remains shrouded in uncertainty. Both countries remain on high alert with their militaries deployed along the border in a tense standoff. While back-channel communications have reportedly begun to de-escalate the situation, the risk of further clashes remains high. The path to lasting peace between India and Pakistan is fraught with obstacles. The unresolved issue of Kashmir, coupled with decades of mistrust and animosity, continues to cast a long shadow over their relationship. Finding a solution that addresses the legitimate aspirations of the people of Kashmir while ensuring the security concerns of both India and Pakistan will require immense political will, diplomatic skill, and a commitment to dialogue. Until then, the threat of conflict will continue to loom over the Indian subcontinent, casting a pall over the lives of millions.